after 5 o'clock. I am the doctor. All right, so last week and the week before, here in Michigan, big controversies, protests, and all kinds of happenings and going-ons because of the right-to-work legislation that was ultimately passed. We covered it quite extensively. I laid out all of the arguments. And I'm not going to get into that now. I'm not going to rehash that. But I do want to tell you some fringe things that happened along with this. See, those of us here in Michigan were focused on what was going on in Lansing, some of the other things around the state. But around the country and around the world, people were focused on Michigan. And they were saying and doing their own things because of what was happening here in Michigan. For example, in D.C., there were politicians that were having conversations. Some of them took to the floor of the House or of the Senate to discuss what was going on in Michigan. One of those people was Representative Hank Johnson of Georgia.
Wait. Hank Johnson of Georgia.
Do you know Hank Johnson?
Hank Johnson's the Guam guy.
Yeah, Hank Johnson is the one who was afraid that Guam would tip over.
I think I have that.
Do you have that? Let's go ahead and play it. Yeah, Hank Johnson is a Democrat from Georgia, not too far outside of Atlanta. He took to the floor to talk about what was going on in Michigan. And he got very concerned because after he had spoken about it, after he said some things, some people were critical of what he had said, and he went back to the floor the next day to try to clear up what he had said. Now, first of all, I will refresh your memory about Hank Johnson, what he said during another committee hearing. He was talking to a general about the military wanting more troops and whatnot on the island of Guam, and Hank Johnson was quite concerned that Guam would be in a bit of trouble. So I will first play you Hank Johnson from years past.
24 miles, if I recall, long. So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide on the widest part of the island. And
it's a congressman here.
Yeah, Hank
Johnson.
I
don't know how many square miles that is.
That's the size of the island.
Happen to know?
I don't have that figure with me, sir. I can certainly supply it to you if you'd like.
Yeah, my fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize. And also things like the environment,
the congressman was concerned that if more people go on Guam, the island would tip over, it would capsize. A congressman was worried that an island could tip over or capsize. I guess thinking islands float out in the... You know, in his defense, maybe he thought it was one of those little blow-up islands you put in the pool, the big round thing.
Oh, okay.
So Guam is not a blow-up island. I did not know that. I thought that it was a blow-up island.
It will tip over and
capsize, but it cannot. Okay, so that's Representative Hank Johnson. So last week, while I was in D.C. and actually saw him
and capsize,
I'm sitting in the gallery of the House of Representatives, and they had a little bill that they were working on, a couple of votes, minor votes. And I'm pointing people out. I'm like, I'm with wife. I'm like, there's Nancy Pelosi. Look at that. There's Barney Frank. Oh, my golly, Hank Johnson sitting right in front of us. Later on, he takes the floor to give a blah, blah, blah. And after he blahs about what's going on in Michigan and right to work, what happens? Some people question some things he says, and he has to take back to the floor to clean it up. Now, the clip we have is from day 2. This is Congressman Hank Johnson talking about something he said that may have been inappropriate.
And just while you're listening to this, keep in mind this is a sitting congressman from the state of Georgia.
Yeah, he just got reelected. Yeah, here we
go. I wanted to express the fact that last night I came in to do a special order on the situation happening in Michigan where a surprise attack, a sneak attack by the right wingers resulted in the passage of legislation, which I won't refer to as right-to-work legislation, is more appropriately named Crush the Union legislation. I came up last night to the floor to speak on that issue, and as I am prone to do, I use a lot of analogies, and so last night I used an analogy that some find offensive. And I certainly was not meaning to be offensive or use a derogatory term.
Okay, so what happened? He's saying that the night before he said something he shouldn't have said, and he got to give the guy credit for coming to the floor and admitting his wrong. Let him continue.
Everybody knows what the N-word is.
Oh, wait a minute. He said the N-word? Hey, keep playing. Let me hear it. The
N-word, Mr. Speaker, is used to describe a group of people. And the N-word used to be fashionable, or it used to be socially acceptable to use the N-word. But now we don't say the N-word. We refer to that word as the N-word.
Okay, wait. So we don't say the N-word.
We don't say the N-word.
We
refer to it as the N-word.
Okay.
Congressman Hank Johnson, folks.
Yes, hey, Congressman. Here we go. Yeah.
I had never heard of the M-word.
Whoa. The M-word.
Wait.
So he's saying he used the M-word the night before. What is the M-word? Please continue.
Representative Shankowski, the M-word. It's a word also that describes a group of people. And it at one time has been commonly used as a descriptive term.
Now, what are you, Michiganders? Misogynists? Men, maybe? What is the M word?
It was at one time socially acceptable. But to my discovery, just within the last 12 hours or so, I have found that the use of the the use of the M word.
Whoa! Wait a minute.
Should I dump that? Should I get that out?
No, hang on. I think we're okay. He said it. I think that'll probably be the last time anyone says the word midget. Don't worry.
You just said it again.
Oh, I'm sorry. The M word. So wait a minute. The M word is midget. And he said the M word, he's not going to say the M word anymore, but then says what the M word is.
See, that's my favorite part. That's what really sells this audio right here. I've heard that it's offensive to people. That's why I won't say the midget word. Oh, goodness.
Play that again.
I have found that the use of the midget, the use of the M word, I have found that the use of the midget, the use of the M word.
Is there more audio when he describes it?
The use of the M word
right here
is no longer socially acceptable. Now, the M word refers to a group of people,
yes,
the little people. But when we say little people, I'm not talking about the Leona Helmsley little people.
What?
I'm not talking about the 47%. I'm not talking about the takers instead of the makers, as some would describe them. I'm not talking about the middle class, working people, poor people.
The M word doesn't stand for middle?
Poor people. That's not what is meant by the little people term. It really refers to a medical condition.
Stop it.
Dwarfism is the name of that medical.
It's deism too. Can we please just?
Can I say the word dwarf?
I just go with the D word. I think
because dwarf doesn't apply to all people, does it? Only people with dwarfism. Not all midgets are dwarfs. Not all dwarfs are midgets. Not all little people
Come
are.
on,
I'm
Howard
sorry.
Stern. What
I'm
are you
sorry.
doing here?
Listen, I'm sorry. Not
it's a
all
family show.
Not all little people are midgets, and not all little people are dwarves. Those are all different categories,
not all
right?
little people are M words, and not all M words are D words.
All right, listen, I'm clearly...
It's not that difficult,
I'm
Doc.
clearly being offensive here, so let me just ask you, what do you like to be referred as?
Wow. Now you're going after me.
How do you like to be referred?
Now you're going... How about Skip?
You're a little person, though.
I am not a little person.
We're coming down to Christmas. Should it be Elf?
Wow. Now, Elf? You're going with Elf now? I'm a reasonable 5'5".
You're not Irish, though, right?
No.
So we can't go with leprechaun or anything like that.
Really, dude? You're going to go there after all this?
Just saying. I'm asking you how you like to be referred.
At least you didn't call me a midget. I'm sorry.
M word.
M word.
How do you want people to refer to you when they talk about your stature?
Really? You're going to go down this road?
I mean, dude, I can't answer.
Let's go with vertically challenged.
I'm like almost 6'4", so I want to make sure that I don't want to offend.
You're a gangly old white guy. That's what you are.
That's true. I have no problem admitting that. I don't want to be offensive. You know me, Skip. I'm a person who likes to bring people together.
Yeah.
I'm a person who's very concerned about being, politically correct and make sure I don't offend people. So how am I supposed to refer to you or other little tiny dwarf midgets?
I shouldn't be part of that group.
What's the cutoff then?
Deism? I'm not.
So you're not at that level, but so you're like a giant midget. Is that a giant
Would you
dwarf?
stop saying that word?
You're like a giant M word. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So you're giant M word. Like we have giant schnauzers and we have schnauzers.
I'm one of the tallest of the M words.
You're one of the tallest of the M words. What's the cutoff before they stop calling you M word?
I don't know.
Is it like 5'2"? For a man, for the average man.
Case, I mean, I'm 5'5". I'm not an M word.
No, but you're only a couple of inches away. I mean,
but
seriously,
still,
you're right there in the
cutoff, though.
That's true, but you're right there. I'm asking what the cutoff is. Is if it's got to be like for a man?
I think legally it actually becomes a disability below adult being below 5 foot, adult male below 5 foot.
So you had 5 inches. All right, that's not too bad. Can you play me a little bit more of Hank Johnson? I want to hear a little more of him realizing that he shouldn't have said the M word. Yes,
medical condition, and sometimes I guess one can even say abnormally small people, which
are you okay with that, Skip? Abnormally small. Are you okay with being referred to as abnormal?
I'm not abnormally small.
You're just normally small?
I'm just...
Okay, please.
I like that term better than dwarfism.
Wait a minute.
Come on now, Hank.
The congressman would prefer not to use dwarfism or little people, just say you're abnormally small. The congressman doesn't want to offend and use the word midget. He wants to use the word abnormal. You're a freak. The congressman wants to use freakishly small. That's what he's saying, because he doesn't want to offend people. Look at the little freak is what he's saying.
That it will tip over and capsize.
The little person is going to tip over and capsize because they're freakishly small. Let me hear more about him not being offensive.
I wanted to say to all of those who may have been offended by my use of the term, the M word, I want you to know that it was out of ignorance and not spite or hatred. That
Let me get this straight. Congressman Hank Johnson is admitting that he's ignorant.
Oh, I think we've already known that, though.
Boy, that's a come-to-Jesus moment, isn't it? Because I've known that for years. I'm glad he's finally cluing into his ignorance.
This is the sitting congressman that was concerned too many people going to Guam might cause Guam to capsize and tip over.
That term, and please know that I will never use that term again. I'll never use that term again.
He just keeps going.
To make people understand that there are those who are deeply offended by it, and
another congresswoman.
That we should all learn what to say so as not to offend people.
Well, and that's correct. It's a learning moment for me and perhaps many others out there. But I'll tell you, if you want to find out more about little people or abnormally small people or unusually small people. There's a website.
Unusually small.
You can watch The Wizard of Oz if you want to find out more about these little abnormal people.
Are you familiar with the Lollipop Guild? I don't like to call them midgets. M
call
word.
them now the LP Guild.
I call them the Lollipop Guild.
If you're an M word or a D word,
I call them people who live in approximation to the yellow brick road. I call them people who fear from the wicked witches.
Actually, called the Little People of America. And their website is at lpaonline.org.
At least it's a short domain, you know.
Is LP really little people, or is it Lollipop Guild? Is that the... I think it is okay to call them Lilliputians, which also
it's the Lollipop Association
PLP with the
.org.
And I went to that website this morning and looked through it, and I have been awakened to the sensitivities involved, and so anyone who I offended has my deepest apology. But the analogy that I used,
there it is. Right. That is sitting Congressman Hank Johnson. Skip, promise me something.
What's that?
Promise me that you will work tirelessly to get me a meeting with Congressman Hank Johnson.
I put in media requests before. I don't think this is ever going to happen.
Listen, it does. I have to have dinner with this man. I have to spend some time meeting with this man. He doesn't have to think it's on the radio. We will videotape it, record it secretly, but I have to hang out with him.
I don't know. I'll see if I can make it happen.
At some point. Christmas, my birthday, something. Bribe some people. Tell them you represent the Lollipop Guild, and
I have found that the use of the midget, the use of the M word.
Dude, here's what we have to do. We have to listen to every interview or every speech he makes on the floor and claim something is offensive. Something is
just to apologize.
Just to keep apologizing. I didn't know that. Saying that word was offensive. Let's go to Kelly and Troy. You're on Talk Radio 1270. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. You guys are just cracking me up as usual. Skip, do not let Doc give you a hard time.
Thank you. Someone's going to come to my aid.
No, it's okay, Kelly. I now recognize my error that he is just a fan of ruby slippers and little dogs and yellow brick roads.
Oh, my God. My fiance is 4 inches shorter than I am. And if he were as tall as Doc, God help me, because he would be cockier than Doc.
So let me say, your husband, fiance, is abnormally, unusually small. Is that? I'm trying not to offend Kelly from Troy. That he is abnormally, unusually, freakishly small for a man.
You know what? He's just right, and he's perfect for me.
That is wonderful.
There you go, Skip.
I appreciate that. Finally, someone's going to come to my aid.
I know. I'm tired of this.
People like me are in short supply, is all I got to say.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there.
That it will tip over and capsize.
I was trying desperately when I saw him. I was in the gallery, the Capitol, to see what he was working on the computer. I was like,
oh, my goodness.
I'm not kidding. He was right in front of me, maybe 2 rows up. And the gallery, when you sit in the House of Representatives, it wasn't built for giant people. Back in the day, they were all...
Like you, the giants like you.
They were naturally smaller back in the day. So you could lean over the gallery and probably swat people on the top of the head. Yeah, it's not real high. So he was only like 2 or 3 rows up. Imagine this. Nobody else in Congress saying a friggin' word to this guy. I'm serious. He was like, they had like a 10-foot radius where no one would get close to him.
Oh, so he's got like his own table at the cafeteria that he doesn't know wants to eat with them.
But he is such a dolt. The guy is so lost. He just wanders around doing his own thing.
I have found that the use of the the use of the M word.
So he sits down and he's working on his computer. He has a laptop of sorts, and he has his legs together, and he has the laptop on his lap, and he's leaned forward over it. And I'm desperately trying to see what he's doing. Desperately trying to see. I couldn't see anything. They don't let you take a phone or anything in because they don't want people filming it. I actually saw something that I am so upset that I didn't have a camera. The rule is congressmen have to vote themselves. They cannot allow a staff member or anybody else to vote for them. And at the end of each row of seats, behind the seat, there is a little electronic box. And each member of Congress has their own special ID card that works in this box. And when they're voting, they swipe their card and they can press present, yes or no. They must cast that vote. It is a rule. Nobody else can swipe and use their card. In the last row, as I'm watching in the gallery, there are two Congress people. Some old dude and some old chick. The old dude is at the end. He leans forward and over to the left, because the row in front of him was a little longer, to swipe his card and vote. He leans over, can't quite get it. He has to kind of get up out of his chair, swipe it, and press the button. And as he sits back down, the lady on his right, the congresswoman, kind of slaps him on the shoulder and hands him her card to vote for her.
Uh-oh.
And he leans over, swipes the card, and he looks back and gives her like a thumb up, like, you want yes, right? And she's like, yeah, yes. Swipes it, votes, and hands it back to her.
Wow.
That is what and I was like, son of a gun, was right there. I don't know who the woman was. She looked like the former governor of Texas, Ann Richards. Well, we'll have to look it up, figure out who it was. But, yeah, I witnessed it right there. I'm like, son of a gun. Skip, we got to smuggle cameras into the Capitol and get this. We'll get Hank Johnson.
You realize we're broadcasting on the air right now. That might have been a good thing to tell me off the air.
They're not listening to us.
That's a good point.
You think Sandy Levin, think he's listening?
Sandy.
Mike in Canton, you're on Talk Radio 1270.
Hey, I got a question for you, Doc.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good show, great show.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, didn't the Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee say we planted a flag on Mars also?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, she did say something about, let me think. Sheila Jackson Lee has said some nutty stuff, too. I'm trying to remember that. I think that does sound familiar, though.
Yeah, isn't it amazing how these people just get reelected?
They can commit crimes if the people in their district believe that somehow they have been kept down, like Marion Barry. This guy can be this ignorant. I mean, the island tipping over. You're a congressman. You're passing laws. You're voting on this stuff, Mike. Wow.
Yeah, that's scary.
I just hope, Mike, you realize that the M word is no longer acceptable.
Well, this is true.
You can say
it was mother. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Yeah. You can say abnormally, freakishly, unusually small, but not the M word. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Going forward,
I will never say midget again.
Oh, it's right there, Mike. God, I'm going to get a break in here. It's Doc Thompson.
I have found that the use of the midget, the use of the M word.
Doc Thompson.